I got the message like, Pim, you have to be careful because there's one elephant is coming your way, sort of. At that moment, I already realized, this is just gonna attack us. I just decided to run. And then came a point that I thought, okay, now I think or I'm gonna die right here, right now, because this doesn't feel good, like in any way. Or the only other option you have is like.
All right, Pim Niesten, very happy that you're here. It's actually the third time that you're trying to do this. So I'm very happy that finally we made it happen.
Third time, good time.
Yeah, exactly. I want to jump right into it, actually. Working in the wilderness, it can be very intense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, humans, nature is not always very friendly to humans. And I would like to know from you, has there ever been a case where you truly had a risky situation happen?
Immediately these questions.
As a wildlife cameraman.
Yeah, a couple of times, I guess, yeah. And my kids keep asking these stories. Then we are at a family table, everybody's quiet and stuff, and then suddenly they come with the question, Daddy, tell us the story about the elephant. Tell us the story on the lion.
I never heard those.
So there's a few of them, which my kids know. And by now, I think through all of my stories, I think they are a bit afraid of going into the bush with me. I always tell them, like, I should come to Africa. And they were like,
how old are they now again?
10 and 12.
Okay. Yeah.
So still quite young, I think. And also like the combination of kids and the work we're doing, it's not the easiest of combination. So, but soon enough, I would like to take them to Africa and these dangerous other places. They think like really like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I would like to take them very soon, and I think they're kind of ready for this, but more for holidays, not combined with the job I'm doing, because it's nearly impossible. From my point of view, because indeed, like, it's intense. You're out there. It's all these things to cope with, and to answer your questions, dangerous situations, a couple of them. I try to avoid them because every time that I realize I'm in a dangerous situation or it gets sort of out of control, I feel uncomfortable immediately.
Okay.
And I'm aware of my intrusion, like that's maybe my main goal. Like as a wildlife filmmaker, I think often you try to avoid intruding into too much into what animals are doing or how they behave or into the environment. You try to blend in to just try to register what's going on. And often I realize the situations I'm in when it gets really tricky, it's because of me, because of a certain action that you did or a certain judgment that was maybe not the right one, or you should have maybe approached it differently. On the other hand, sometimes you can't really predict the situation. And one of those, for example, like that was one of my very first wildlife jobs as a wildlife cameraman. It's about 18 years ago, I guess, in Zimbabwe. So I started off like working a lot in Africa. It was just maybe a bit of a coincidence, like one job and the next. It always took me to southern Africa. I fell in love with the place. Absolutely. I love Africa. I love the adventure there, the wildlife, the people. It's amazing. And still, when I'm home, I can have those days that I really long to go back to Africa. I have the sunrise in the morning, or just to go out and be really like surrounded by wildlife. Or these places in Africa really attract me a lot. But so I was out in Zimbabwe, one of my very first wildlife film projects, and I was filming mainly the main goal was filming wild dogs, but it was a sort of human wildlife conflict story, not conflict, but also like the story of reintroducing wild dogs which has been poached or shot or snared, like with caught with snares. So there's a certain organization like taking care of those dogs, like just to rehabilitate them, to cure them, to take care of them, and keep them wild enough so they can be released. But then the problem arose, like, when and how do we release those dogs, and what happens to such an individual if we release them with another pack, or do they have to be in the same pack, and where's the pack? There's all these...
They're very social animals.
Yeah, it's a
African
complicated
dogs.
story. But in the end, we ended up filming the reintroduction, or the sort of experiment of taking all these wild dogs out of the sanctuary and put them together and try to make them, or follow up on the way they behave as a pack.
Okay.
But dogs that have very different backgrounds, very different characters, don't really know each other too well.
Out in the wild?
No,
putting them together out in the wild, or in a
to take them out in the wild, but on an island. So a sort of confined, experimental place where they were all colored.
Yes.
And then they tried to see what happens to a pack of dogs if we set them free.
Yeah.
And the island was just like a safe place for them to be, and to be followed easily and tracked, and see whether they need help or not, or how they cope and how they work together. So that was the main story. And I was filming out there. It's an island. It's not too big, but it was on Lake Kariba in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
So small island. But there are elephants, there are crocodiles, there are hippos, there are the wild dogs, of course. Every once in a while, there's lions crossing. Of course, Lake Kariba is like a huge lake.
Okay.
But they cross, and elephants as well, they cross and they appear on an island.
Lions as well?
Yeah, lions can swim as well. And
yeah.
They have been seen. I never saw a lion on the island, but you always, as always, you have to be very careful about your surroundings and what's happening. And I remember, like, every time we went, it was the first thing we did was a sort of counting of elephants on the island, because based on like what you saw before, you knew, like, okay, there are 5 elephants on the island today. Tomorrow, chances are that they're the same 5 are still there. If any have crossed or not, or have disappeared, you might want to find out before going onto the island and putting yourself, I wouldn't say at risk, but at least out there with an elephant on an island. And elephants are very charismatic and very beautiful animals, and very, they're amazing animals. They can be very dangerous as well. Like, and so the thing that happened, like, we were always counting the elephants, and every time was, I think it was about 5 to 8 elephants or something. And of course, they can disappear in there's not like a massive forest, but bushes.
Okay.
And sometimes they disappear, so you only see 3 elephants, and 2 of them are somewhere in the bush. But there was one time, and I always felt pretty confident, and you saw them in the distance, you walk on the island. The dogs also there, like, the rule is always not to walk alone, always be at least 2 of you. Of course, we had the help of national parks, sometimes joining us with guns, just in case anything happens, but I don't really felt that it was ever really needed. Maybe it was even more against humans sometimes, because the thing was, there were also poachers active on the island, and then there was one time that we found a camp of poachers who had been there. Like, the fire was still warm, like a campfire. Coals were still burning, so we knew it was very recent. It was sort of last night. They probably spent the night, left the island that morning, or they were still around.
Okay.
Didn't know. But that's the time that we also called in national parks to make them aware and to come over and check and of course, like, bring out the anti-poaching team and see what they can do to catch them, or to see whether there's snares, or clear the island from any poaching incidents or so. And at that moment, of course, my main job, we alerted national parks and they were going to come, and it was okay. My main job is still to go out and film. So I was on my viewing platform, watching where the dogs would go, or if there were any other elephants on the horizon, other things to film. But towards the late afternoon, I had to leave it was a safe, it was like 2 meters high.
Okay.
So I was safe from whatever
Yeah.
was underneath. Like sometimes elephants would pass right by. It's very impressive. And I was still like a young filmmaker.
How old were you then?
I studied for a long time. So but it was I think I studied for 8 years in total. And then I started working. So I think I was about 26, 27. Still young,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And of course, it's all very impressive and it's all very immersive. And you can see hippos and you're really surrounded by wild and big animals and out there, like virtually alone. Of course, I always had my tracker and who was also my assistant, sort of. Like it was always the two of us. Jealous was his name, amazing guy. I never forget all the adventures we went through. But that particular day, so I had to leave the blind or the viewpoint and cross the island just to get to the boat that would take me to the main camp. And the plan was not to camp on the island. It was just not to, like as I said, like you don't want to intrude too much. You don't want to make a fire out there. You just want the place to be as wild as possible. And so I had to leave. I had to cross a whole savanna area just to get to the other side of the island. And then there was somewhere halfway, so I'm halfway open savanna. There's some bush to the left of me, but quite distant. Some dead trees. Lake Kariba is a sort of flooded, sort of artificially flooded place because it's due to damming that the big lake was formed. So you have all these big trees also on the island that died because of the water level. And on the right side, I think I kind of remember like a slope going up. And then in a way, I was always connected or like in connection with other people from the wildlife conservation team. Or my colleagues, so we could just keep track of each other and animal movements and stuff. And I got the message like, Pim, you have to be careful because there's one elephant is coming your way, sort of. And but they didn't know where I was. They didn't see me like my colleagues. But I was in the middle of the savannah, and that was a good thing that they were aware of an elephant moving in my direction, but they weren't aware how straight in my direction it was. So suddenly, and I didn't see a thing. I was like, okay, I'll be careful. Okay, like I'm warned. That's good. And then after just a couple of, maybe 10 seconds, suddenly I see like a big elephant appearing on the hill. And of course the elephant as well, he's like just moving away. And that was the story. The elephant was actually annoyed already by the smell of the gunpowder. And the gunpowder that the guards from National Park brought just to check the island for those poachers. So they had their guns, and the elephant smelled the gunpowder. Oh, wow. So that elephant was already sort of annoyed and angry, and you could tell by his behavior. It wasn't like a slowly, like calm moving elephant. He was already agitated.
It was
and of course
male.
You see, I can't even remember.
Okay.
I can't remember whether it was a male or a female.
Okay.
I can't remember. It was a big one.
Okay.
It didn't have like big tusks. That I don't remember. I think.
But the females can also have tusks.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, who knows?
But
if it's an angry mama,
too long ago for these details. But it was like a lonely, like it was one elephant alone, agitated, coming, like just arriving from my point of view, on the hill. And of course, that elephant sees me right in front of him or her. and I'm sort of in the way of an escape route to the bushes. And that's when, in a blink of an eye, you have to make a decision. I still remember Chalice was behind me. I was carrying the camera, the tripod. He was carrying all the other equipment and what is camouflage things and waterproof jackets and stuff. And I turned to him, and I just asked him, what should we do? And he was actually just about to say, let's just see and wait what he's gonna do. And right at that moment, I already realized, but he's just gonna attack us, just run at us. And that's exactly what happened. So, and I know they say you shouldn't run from animals attacking you. And at that moment, I just decided to run, towards a dead tree. One of those dead trees. And just while turning to Chalice, I also was just, it all happened in such a narrow time span. But I also aimed, I was looking at a way out, I think, saw that tree. So I decided to come. And I told Chalice, just run. And I started, and he, behind me was also...
You had all the gear, or you left the gear?
I had my camera. I didn't leave my camera. I still had my camera on my shoulders. Okay. I started running with all my gear. And then just towards that one tree, because the bush was way too far. There were other dead trees, but I was just aiming at the biggest, closest dead tree that I could see, which was still quite a run. Meanwhile, through the radios, the other guys had come to a place where they could track or follow that elephant from a distance. So they saw me running from the elephant, yelling through the walkie-talkies, run, run. So I thought, okay, I'm doing the good thing. I'm just running. But at the same time, I was also yelling, shut up. Because I thought, that sound could also annoy that elephant even more. Or, I don't know. It was all so fast. And then, so turning back, I saw that elephant running behind us. I saw Chalice just behind me, losing all the stuff from his bag.
Oh, wow.
And then I remember just being arriving at the tree. Chalice also with me, but it was a tree just wide. There was not a big tree. It was just a dead thing. But at least I thought that at least I could show the elephant that I'm out of sight, hide behind it.
Not climb it.
You couldn't climb. It's just a straight trunk.
Yeah.
No, you couldn't climb.
I thought it was to climbing it.
No, there was no way. No. Okay. No way of climbing anything. No way to hiding anywhere else. So it was just an open savanna. So the only thing I could do was just stand behind it and hoping that the elephant would sort of be distracted or see that I'm not the one who is attacking him or who's who was just unwillingly in his path. And that's actually what happened. The good thing was that Chalice lost all our rainproof jackets and the camouflage cloth, and it sort of fell out of his pockets while we were running. And that's what distracted the elephant as well. He was I remember looking back, and he was a bit distant and slowing down and picking up the things and just smelling it, giving us enough time to just be still. And then I remember him changing direction a little bit and slowly walking towards the bush.
Okay.
Which I thought as well, it's a bit of an angle. So now he has a free path to safety, what he would see as safety. And the guys were still yelling through it. I was still behind the tree. I said, can you just shut up? And I turned it down, just turned it off. I thought, they can't help me at all at the moment. I just don't want the elephant to be more alarmed again. Or so then I still remember looking behind from the tree, behind the tree, seeing that elephant walking away. But elephants can also, they are so smart. And so what I also saw, him looking at me, I know you're there. I'm not a fool, but it's okay for now. And then that was the kind of look he gave me. That's what I still remember. And then, and afterwards, every time that we came across these elephants, we could always see my friend, that elephant who attacked me. So I had a special bond with that elephant, sort of.
What are you supposed to do? Is there a protocol for elephants? Like with bears, they say you have to huddle up, or
for a lot of elephants, for a lot of animals, you can have a sort of guidebook what to do. But I think in special conditions and special situations, I don't know if I often try to rely on local knowledge and people that know best. And if not available, I try to follow my instinct, but not my instinct in the terms of always run, because that's what I barely do.
Okay.
It depends. It depends indeed on the animal and the situation again. But at that moment, that evening, I asked the guy in the lodge who had worked with elephants for years, like, what should I have done in that situation? Angry elephant, this and that. And he was like, if you would have stayed there and he would have been so annoyed and so angry, he would have just crushed you, probably. So it was maybe the best decision to run.
We've seen angry elephant videos.
Because you can have elephants that like approach you and sort of have a mock charge, just come to you like very fast. But I sensed that situation that was different. That was just an elephant ready to squash whatever human he encountered because he smelled the danger and the gunpowder.
That's so crazy that he can remember the smell of gunpowder. I wonder if it's something he learned during his life or it was. Yeah,
elephants, they know. Just not too long ago, I was in Gabon filming forest elephants.
Yeah.
And it's a wild place and it's quite remote, but you could see that they really fear humans.
Okay.
They know. They come across them. They see them on other places. Of course, they roam big distances. It's not always the most remote place. And you could see in their behavior that they're really, really careful when they smell or see any human activity. It's a bit different. These elephants, it's also a little bit different from the safari, the touristy places where elephants are very used to seeing.
In Gabon,
in Gabon or in Zimbabwe. I was on a place where actually I think most people they encounter are the locals and poachers. It's not film crews, not tourists that make them feel safer or so. So it's always a sort of conflict. So I tend to think that I took the right decision.
Yeah, it seems like it. You survived.
But ever since, I'm very aware of when elephants are around.
Okay. Yeah.
Because of that.
You also learned.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I've seen other colleagues or people taking risks that I wouldn't take anymore.
Okay.
I wouldn't on foot approach elephants in certain ways, I don't feel comfortable anymore. I still see that doom vision of an elephant like just coming right for you, which is quite impressive.
Do you want to say the story of Romania?
Oh yeah, Romania. I almost forgot about that one. I told you I have a few stories. I have one story that I nearly drowned in Christmas Island, also like on a stupid early morning 6 o'clock appointment, just to dive to scuba dive for whale sharks.
Oh wow!
Just for fun, because it had nothing to do with the filming I was doing. It was on the crabs and the red crabs and the rubber crabs on Christmas Island, which the island is famous for.
The biggest crabs in the world, right?
Yeah. But we were going to go for the biggest fish in the world, which is also part of the story, the whale shark. But it wasn't meant to be filmed. It was like, okay, if we really need the story of a whale shark or it's not like a bigger story, we just need a shot or two, then we'll buy it in stock footage probably.
Okay.
Don't do the effort. But but we were there for a long time, and one morning was just like the perfect occasion to go out and try. I couldn't go for the filming of the crabs because there were too many on the roads at that time, so I was stuck basically at home.
Okay.
So the only thing I could think of, like, I never want to be, I'm always the one.
Yeah.
I'm going to explore other things, which is good because then you can come across other things to film as well. But at the same time, also sometimes you need a bit of time off and to clear your mind. So that morning was a moment like, let's clear our mind. And I've never seen a whale shark before. So and they come to Christmas Island just because of all the plankton, but especially the eggs that the crabs release at a certain time of year.
Yeah.
The land crabs, they come to the ocean, they release millions and millions of eggs. And that's exactly the time when the whale sharks are passing, trying to eat as many as they can. So at that morning, couldn't go out filming any crabs or any of my sequences that I had planned. It was for later that day. So I had an appointment with a local guide, and actually like one of the what would I say? He was the president of the Explorers Club in Australia, because Christmas Island belongs to Australia.
I didn't know.
It's beneath Java somewhere, but Australia is quite far away. But it's their territory.
That's how that goes.
And we just were going to go out. I think I had a GoPro, maybe just for fun, just in case we saw anything. And there, I still remember, like early morning, and the bay was very flat and very quiet. And the advantage of Christmas Island is you have the coral reef, and then quite quickly it turns to a very deep ocean. Okay. So you have a big drop, the wall, and there it gets scary. I'm that feeling of coming to be almost surrounded completely by the blue ocean. For me, it's maybe one of the most uncomfortable and scary feelings that I come across in the wild.
Yeah.
I think that's
the
because
abyss.
I'm not a diver. Like, I'm not like a professional, very skilled diver. I always feel like I don't belong here. It's all not really my environment. So I'm not too comfortable anyways in these conditions. And like,
I think there is a term for it, like abyssal phobia or something like this. And that's exactly what I have. So many people have that actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But I can imagine if you see that, and if you see that big blue thing, and sometimes it doesn't even need to be fish out there, but if you then see like big barracudas circling, and that's exactly what I saw then.
You just see the sun rays like penetrating the ocean, but nothing else.
It's amazing, but so scary. To me, it feels scary. But I was used to that by that time. I did that already a couple of times. I knew, like, it's still that fear still hits you. And of course, over the coral reef, it's beautiful. I feel comfortable. Then you get to the big drop. But there was no current at all at that moment. It was like the ocean early morning when we looked over the bay was like a mirror. And we decided, okay, there's no need to really decide from what side to start to what other side to swim. Let's just decide, okay, let's go in the water, like, let's swim there, and then start following the abyss, trying to see where the whale sharks are. Which to me also felt very like already a scary thought of being out there alone.
You never saw them at this point?
I never saw them before. Wow. No, not at all. And even up to this point, I never saw one. Which already gives away I didn't see any. Too bad. But I risked my life to try to see. There are no tourists, basically. There's no tourism surrounding these whale sharks. So I thought that was for me, ideal opportunity, because I'm the kind of guy who avoids being in too touristy places, joining too touristy attractions to try and spot an animal being chased by people. I don't feel comfortable doing that. So I tried to do my private animal spotting on the side of my filming.
Perks of the job, I think.
It's part of the job, of course. It's a good excuse. But at that moment, Chris, who was with me, he could dive very deep, and he was always like right under. I can't dive for 5 meters, and I already like my ear starts hurting, and he was free diving with big palms and going all the way down. I was always very jealous that, oh my God, and he would just almost disappear in the depths, and I was like alone floating somewhere and a bit of diving and looking at it was big blue, and trying to spot any. Already like feeling like, oh my God, just imagine that a big shadow comes from. That's the fear. What would happen to me?
But it's exhilarating.
It would be.
It's exciting as well.
Very exciting. So I saw some barracudas, some other big fish passing, some giant trevally, so
shark,
big fish. Often they're like sharks passing the drop, the abyss as well. So I could see them in the depths as well, and I could see Chris from time to time. And at one time, I realized, like, oh my God, the ocean becomes it's very different. Not even realizing what was happening, but the currents started to pick up.
Okay.
Somehow it was changing currents, and also Chris, he came up, and he was like already like a sort of oh my God, Pim, I think there's a big current starting here, so you have to be careful. And indeed, like already, like before it was all flat, and I could see the beach where we had left. I could see the ocean, and now all I saw was just waves getting bigger and bigger, and you could feel the drag pulling you away from where you started. And that's at that moment, I didn't even realize how dangerous that could be. But when I saw the beach disappearing in the distance, and the island, it's not like a big island, but you could see like, God, I don't do anything. I'm just floating here, but I'm being pulled away from where I should be. Mm-hmm. Then suddenly I started to panic. And I remember also Chris, he was like, okay, we should. But he has flippers, like the flippers he had, this size. Mine were half the size. He was skilled. He had lived there 3 years, and and I was just an alien in an environment where I thought like, oh yeah, let's
just a swimming primate.
I was too excited to spot whale sharks, not too aware of any danger for real. Not thinking that could really happen like this. A bit naive, I guess. But then, and then Chris started to swim to a certain, like, of course, you couldn't swim straight into the current. You had to go around. That's something he explained to me shortly when I was like trying to listen what he was saying. Like, there was all chaos around. And I tried to follow him, but I remember like he would disappear behind the next wave and then just be gone. I was like, oh my God, I can't see Chris.
There were waves at this point.
Yeah, there were big waves. And so it was like being in a
far right sea.
Water. And I couldn't see Chris anymore for a whole while. And I was like, oh my, and trying to swim and trying to keep up in a certain direction, not really knowing what was gonna happen, still feeling the current, and most of all started to panic. My heart rate was up. I started to really like
hyperventilate.
Hyperventilate. And that panicking, there was like, what also happened was I started to realize that I heard all these stories on the island for the last month of all these people that had disappeared in the current and had died in the ocean, and I washed ashore. And I suddenly realized, oh my God, I'm next. Fuck, how could I be so stupid? And it never occurred to me before going into the water, these stories of horror and things that could go wrong. And then suddenly I'm there in the situation, I'm thinking, they told me about this. So I felt really I felt I was going to be the next.
Oh.
And then the panicking didn't help. Also, like I couldn't. I was trying to make progress. It was very slow, but at least I was going somewhere. Then I remember seeing Chris again in the distance between the waves, and I was like signing to him. Like,
Okay. Oh.
I'm dying, or I don't know. I want to sign something like I'm out of breath, or I can't. This is really
in the diving like this.
I don't even know what sign I could do, and I remember,
well.
and then he waited for me. And then a short, but we didn't. I had a feeling, or probably he had a feeling, we didn't have much time to lose, and we had to keep going. So he continued, and I like tried to follow. I lost him again. And then also I realized, like, oh my God, I still have my goggles on. I had my tuba. And I decided to take them off. And I thought it's more comfortable to be on my back, like doing a backstroke in that direction. But I was still in a sort of panicking state. But I thought, I don't want to see anymore what's underneath me or surrounding me. I don't want to see a shark anymore. I just want to get out of here as quick as possible. So that's also why I decided. Also,
that's what the sharks thinks is interesting. A human in distress.
Yeah,
so when they're like,
that's exactly what I thought as well. Like, oh my God, if I'm now. So I tried to make this, make it as smooth as possible. But not that I was. I don't know. I just didn't want to. That fear of depth or the big blue.
Yeah.
That was too much for me. That was something like, no, I'm here at the surface now. Let's get out of here. So I took off my goggles. I remember still having my tuba, and then trying my backstroke. Also, just energy saving. It felt more comfortable. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm swallowing also salt water. So again, this and then the waves.
In the eyes.
And then came a point that I thought, okay, now I think or I'm gonna die right here, right now, because this doesn't feel good, like in any way. Or the only other option you have is like stop panicking, start just thinking straight and very like just stop the panic. That was just the one thing that was a bit too much, and that calmed me down suddenly. Like I completely. Maybe just the idea, like, if I keep panicking, the danger is even more. Yeah, like it lurks even more around the corner. So just stop it. Yeah, and maybe you have a chance. Then I stopped panicking. I really I felt so peaceful. Wow. And then continued like my backstroke. I got rid of my tuba at my. So I remember like these waves coming over me and still, and then slowly I felt like, there's a way out of here. I'm gonna make it. And and then I saw the curls underneath, and it started to be more shallow. I got like big cramps in my legs. Oh. So that also in the end, I was like dragging myself on the shore. And I remember just laying there, like thinking like, I made it. Barely. Also, like the tricky thing of Christmas Island is the coast. It's very rugged. It's very steep. So you can't get out anywhere else than the place where you got in, like the small beach. You left there. All the rest is rocks, which, like, because of the force of the waves hitting, that's even more dangerous. Being in that situation, you will just get squashed against these walls. So you have to be at that point and nowhere else. But I made it. Yeah. I made it out.
No whale sharks, but you survived.
Oh, no whale sharks at all. And then later, like maybe half an hour later, Chris was telling me like, oh yeah, but I'm going in again. Are you going to join me? I said like, no fucking way. And I couldn't. That was such a fear and such
You feel like that still now, or are you comfortable again in the ocean?
Oh, I still feel it. Later, I remember a time that I was on a boat in filming at the Galapagos Islands. I had an opportunity, or like there was one moment that we were surrounded by manta rays.
Wow.
And for me, it was an opportunity to jump in and trying to see this again without any tourists around, just on a place without any interference. A beautiful opportunity to just jump in and have a quick glance. I didn't really need to film it
from the boat.
And I couldn't. I had such a fear of jumping into, again, it's like the big blue.
Yeah.
It's not on a coral reef, it's out there. And no, I need therapy, I think, to get over that fear.
It's
still there again. It was like jumping into something that I didn't really know what it was going to be. Also, the boat was not really suited to really easily climb in and out again. So I decided, no, not going to do it. Also, visibility was really low.
That's scary.
So there again, I thought, no, let's just enjoy it. Like just the big patch of the manta rays was beautiful. I saw some jumping. So that was a good experience. But no, I still have that fear. And as I said, like I'm not out in the ocean. I still feel like being in an alien place. I'm not too much.
But we're not supposed to be there as humans.
It's natural.
Yeah.
But I think you can learn and you can experience. And I didn't go through that. I'm not a diver. As I said, I'm not a diver. I'm a marine biologist.
Yeah.
From
true.
Education as well. I've got my master in marine biology, but I don't dare to jump in the ocean.
From the boat.
And until today, still today, if I go surfing, I'm very aware of currents and what happen.
Yeah, it is.
Much more than my friends, I think. Which makes sense because I lived through something that I don't want to live through again, and that could happen. Even here we were surfing at the French coast, could happen there as well.
These waves there,
like these rip currents and stuff. And the same with my kids. If they go and swim in the ocean, I'm always very aware of the danger. Like these currents that also could drag you away, and like. Maybe I'm a bit too paranoid.
No, there is paranoid, but no, the current is something to be very aware of, and people die every year from. Yeah,
you see, and I underestimated once at Christmas Island, and I think a couple of years ago, my kids were even younger into the ocean, and they wanted to swim as far as possible. And even me, I feel uncomfortable swimming like too far out in the ocean here in the North Sea. I still feel that fear and that thing.
That's cold.
And when I see my kids doing that, I told them like not to. I told them like not too far. Just
yeah. I think it's good. But the North Sea, I never swam in it. It's cold.
Is there in the North Sea?
No.
Okay.
And there is.
It's cold. Yeah.
There is never. Is there things to see? Like how?
No, just for fun.
Okay.
Jumping in the waves.
And you have a wetsuit on.
In summer.
I don't know. Yeah, in the summer you can, I guess.
It's still
very
cold,
warm
but
days.
It's just.
I never
playing with the kids in the ocean. On the seaside. It's nice. But ever since, I'm very aware of currents, of that danger, and I'm a bit overprotective from that point of view. Too aware. Of course,
most people are scared of sharks and like sea creatures, but the currents you don't hear very much people being afraid of it. But it's definitely a risk.
I'm less afraid of sharks, I think.
Yeah.
Of course, I wouldn't put myself in like a position where a shark could really attack me. I wouldn't be.
You wouldn't want to.
I would be scared,
swim with a great white shark one day.
That was a dream as a kid. I wanted to. Yeah, that was one of my biggest dreams, and there was actually like a television show on the Belgian television called the Droomfabriek.
Okay. I think
they have a remake now, but where people could send in, and I think back in the day it was even like you had to write a postcard. You didn't have email or something. You had to write a postcard to the public broadcaster with your dream. And then you could, of course, they could select a couple of dreams for a show and make them come true. And I always thought like, oh my God, for me, it would be like diving, like cage diving, which maybe now I would maybe try to look for alternatives to cage diving, like being in. But back then it was like, as a kid, it was the only thing, like, oh, in a cage and I'm watching the great whites. For me, that was like my biggest, wildest dream. And up to this day, I never did it. And I had the opportunity in New Zealand. There was like a big breeding site of great white sharks, and they do that cage diving. But there again, I've got these, then you have these issues like the cage diving, what does it do to sharks when they attract sharks to cages?
With the tuna,
with all that things, but they cannot get used to people. Would they be more aggressive? Would that be like
that's
in
true.
reverse? Like
in South Africa, I did it, danger? And they couldn't feed the tuna to the shark. They can only like lure them in with a big tuna head, but they cannot. Absolutely, it's illegal. You cannot feed them.
That they don't get the award of being amongst
exactly
and being there.
But I didn't do it. Eventually, we went on the boat. I saw one great white shark, which was crazy to see, and there was only one. It went away, and nobody went into the cage because there were no. Yeah. And it was strange because the place where I was, there were always great white sharks, and it was pretty much guaranteed that you could do it.
Yeah.
And then they gave me like a ticket to come back the next weekend, but then I left back to Belgium. But my friends went the next weekend. Oh, yeah. They saw no white sharks. And but that week they had a couple white sharks beaching with no fins.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah. That Still, happens. Sharks for me are very like.
But so you don't want to do it anymore.
As a kid, I always cheered for the underdogs. There was sharks, snakes, bats. They intrigued me a lot. Yeah. All animals, but these one the most. The ones that are misunderstood and
spiders.
Yeah, spiders. But I was afraid of spiders also, which a fear that I came over now.
Okay.
I don't feel it anymore.
But so you don't want to do that anymore. The swimming with a great white shark. It's a dream of mine.
Yeah, it's still a dream. Yeah, absolutely.
If you see those people doing it with like a massive white shark.
Yeah, but I think maybe there are ways to do it now without a cage.
Yeah, without a cage.
Yeah, without it.
Yeah, without.
Then I would feel maybe more. Yeah.
No, a cage is weird.
Also, the cage back in the days, that was maybe the only way. It was a way of thinking as well of humans, like. But ever like science and the appreciation of such an animal has grown so much that I think like nowadays would feel even weird to have to be in a cage. No. Maybe there's ways now to do it safely.
Maybe first cage, then because
exit.
Usually they are in the cage and then they exit to go with the shark. Like I don't know, I saw
you have to be
stuff
brave,
like that.
I think.
But also you have to know the animal.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not above it. You're not under it. You always try to be on the same level.
Yeah. If you
and
do
don't be
these
stressed.
things, indeed, you need to be accompanied by somebody who knows, and that's what I do throughout all of the job I'm doing. Of course, it involves these risks from time to time, but you try to be surrounded by people who can sort of who know these risks and know how to react in certain conditions. That's what I try to tell myself, but it doesn't take away the fact that you still face with sometimes some risks which you and I still think which you underestimate, like the fact that I'm in that current right there. It's a stupid mistake of mine. I shouldn't probably have been there, or should have like
the changes in weather and climate and avalanches and currents. It's all these things they can change in a matter of minutes, and we cannot really always do something about it or risk assess, I think.
And that's maybe also the lesson I learned. Like we as humans, we feel so invincible.
Yeah, that we can control.
Yeah, we can control. We are in charge. We are alive, but if you're in these situations, you suddenly realize how quick. And it's the same in a war zone, I guess. How thin the thread is,
humbling.
yeah, like between being alive or dead.
Yeah.
It can be
Yeah.
over and it's nothing big. It's just like, baff, an elephant attacking you.
Yeah.
Like, you drown in a certain situation.
Everybody should have a moment like this in
Yeah,
their
in
life.
our
I think
in
the
our
world would be better.
comfortable Western lifestyle here, I think that could happen. Being hit by a car, and people that live through that also are suddenly aware of how fragile life could be. It could be over in an instant. But if you don't really have that experience, what could happen?
Coming back from sometimes places in the world where there is a lot of dangers, and you come back to Belgium, I often realize how comfortable it is in terms of nature. There is for example, when I came back from Australia, every pond in the north, every pond, every little puddle of water, there could be a giant 5-meter dinosaur in it that is ready to eat you. There are bears in Romania that you also experienced, wolves, and we don't really have any real dangers. Spiders, snakes, like we don't have anything here.
It's a pity. I like that sense of like a little bit of fear, and pay attention and just be aware of you as a human being. You're not on top of everything that's going to happen to you. You're not in control. I'll sort of like that feeling also in a way.
Makes you feel alive.
Makes you feel alive sometimes, and a bit humble against like the powers of nature. And indeed, like I think indeed, like sometimes we live a too luxurious.
But it's especially Belgium, I would say, because also what happened, for example, in Spain, like the floods, or in Japan when there is earthquakes, and we don't have anything like this.
Although it happened also in a couple of years ago here in
a little bit of flood,
south, also flooding, people dying.
That's true. But not like some places in the world, like Florida, where there's crazy hurricanes and
that big power of nature.
It's crazy.
Here in Belgium, it's a bit calm.
Yeah, it is.
A bit more calm.
Very.
And indeed, while I was doing the project in Belgium, I sometimes actually really missed that sense of danger out in nature. And I remember also, like when I was doing a project in Ethiopia, I came back from a forest full of lions and hyenas and snakes and whatever. And then I had a thing in a series in New Zealand. And in the forests of New Zealand, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's these birds, but
they cannot even fly.
And they don't have any toxic spiders or snakes.
Really? In New Zealand, there is nothing toxic or venomous?
No.
Really?
So I remember like walking through the jungle in New Zealand also, and suddenly realizing like, Pim, you're walking around like you have to fear something, but there's nothing here. It's just like a...
And okay, I didn't know that, but I knew that the birds there, the kiwi and the kakapo, they have evolved to be like so like fluffy little not flying animals because they didn't have a lot of predators.
No.
Now there is a brush-tailed possum there, which is eating, and the rats they're eating things.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's actually I wanted to ask this in the beginning, but it was you didn't even say the bear story. Perhaps we can circle back to it. But you're I would say, or I heard you're one of the top cameramen in Europe, and I've seen you work. It's quite impressive, and I wanted to know maybe how was young Pim, and maybe take us back a little bit. What inspired you to pursue wildlife filmmaking?
Yeah, as a kid, I was obsessed by nature, but always have been ever since I was born, I think. And I have two brothers, and they don't really have it at all.
Okay.
And I got it at a very early age, and I still remember like having these books on nature, those encyclopedia, and reading all about. It's of course pre-internet times and stuff. So it's
I have one as well.
Going to the bib and then getting the books there, or like just every time that I could get a present. It could be a book on animals or binoculars, or it had to do something with nature always. So that's where my big interest was already. Yeah, I had a fixation on nature actually, and for me, it never really went away. I think that's the base that. Oh, sorry.
But
Kan
so
ik eens herhalen?
your parents weren't didn't like it. It came from you from nowhere, or
I think as a kid I was born with an obsession for nature and a deep love and a deep feeling I belong in nature, or had that bond, or had to. I grew up in a city. I was a city kid, basically. Like I was destined to be a city kid, but I always tried to get to the nearby. We had a big park, like just it was trees and squirrels and hedgehogs maybe, and we didn't have a garden at home, so that was my garden basically. Or there was also a small nature reserve just outside of Mechelen, the town where I'm from, and these were the places where I started observing and like animals, mostly birds, I guess, because the most obvious one. So I got very early. I got into birds and birding and observing birds, then all these other animals. But as we know, like in Belgium, there's not like there's no big game. There's just a few, and you have to do some effort to find foxes and find deer. As a very young kid, it's already difficult. But whenever I got the chance to wake up early morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, just a chance to see red deer or roe deer somewhere, I would go and I would take my binoculars, and my father always joined me on these quests or these early morning trips, and I think he was the one who really planted that seed also, or like kept it alive. He wasn't like the biggest birder, he wasn't like the biggest naturalist. He was just a guy who had some interest as well, who could share it with me, not really with my brothers. And then I took over in a way. I was reading all these books. I was like spotting more birds and recognizing all the birds and the sound. And also my mother, she tells me, like, when I was with you, like still in a trolley as a very young kid, and we were taking a walk in the park, she had to listen to all the bird songs that I heard and name them. She had no clue, of course. I think she said it all were sparrows. So so I had that interest that I wanted to learn every time, learn more about it. And then, like, as a teenager, I kept on doing that. I kept on going out, ringing birds for signs. Always trying to find angles to be in nature, and that never went away. And I think also that this, and then the combination with filmmaking, it's also a little bit weird, because I'm born in 1980, and as a kid I grew up in a family. We didn't have television at home because it was sort of a bit alternative. Like, television would destroy family life and the bond together. So, but I think in a way, so I wasn't really so much in control, or so much in contact with screens and television or film. Still remember having seen, but I think then the impact it had on me when I saw a nature documentary on a television at some friends or family's place, or when I saw a nature documentary on a big screen in cinemas, like the Microcosmos,
beautiful,
the French film on like one of the very first macro stories that's been told on a big screen.
No narration.
No narration at all,
Beautiful.
Just the music. Boy, that's such an impact on me.
Yeah.
And then the same with L'Ours. There was also like The Bear, was also a French film. If you look back at it, it's all with trained animals, and it's a bit maybe not the thing to do anymore nowadays, different times. But still, if you go in the cinemas and see these wildlife stories being told in a very impressive, immersive way, and me not being so in a daily contact with screens, maybe that's the way it made even more of an impression on me. And especially when I was at friends' place or at a family dinner or family get-together, and I could watch a nature documentary, I was blown away. I was so attracted to it, and I didn't even matter what language it was in. I couldn't. Or German television. Belgian television didn't have any of these wildlife back in the days. I can't remember, but it was mostly on German television or French television. Couldn't understand a word, but it didn't matter. It was just these images and just the idea of just imagine being there. And that's something that triggered me to come up with the idea. Probably you have to be behind the camera then. You have to be in that. But so my very, very first interest comes from nature, and then the idea of, but filming that, capturing these moments would be really cool as well. And that would put me in that spot with these animals in these exotic places.
Perfect excuse.
That's a perfect excuse. It sounds like a dream. And I wanted to be an astronaut, of course, or paleontologist, thinking of only dinosaurs, of course, like only dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But then realizing, probably it's also part of it. It's very boring of wildlife filmmaking sometimes as well. But still, then I thought, but doing that kind of job, that would be very exciting. And also, I didn't really have the means to do a lot of filming out in the wild. That's something if I look at like my assistants now and what they did from a young age, how they have easier, cheaper access to cameras, to all these things to capture already wildlife and get that experience. That's something I completely lacked. I really had to decide, I'll study biology. And then after that, I'll do film school.
So you had that planned already before you started biology?
I had planned already for a long time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought, I'll do biology. Interests me a lot. I want to learn more about it. And it could be like a solid background.
Yeah.
And then on top of this, I can do filmmaking. And then I'll combine both, and that makes sense.
Perfect.
But also for the filmmaking, for me, so I didn't really, like at the early age, I didn't really have the tools of filmmaking. That came later. But I was, in a way, I was very creative. I always drew. I was very, I went to Academy of Arts and stuff. And I think that also, like that artistic thing helps me in my camera work as well.
Yeah.
Or to
have the eye.
Yeah, I can like. We can talk about the sequence, the wildlife sequence. I see immediately all the visuals. I see all the storyboard already, and
I've seen
like.
that your framing and everything like that, and I'm always impressed. It always looks very nice, and you put a lot of effort more sometimes. Not that I know so many wildlife filmmakers, but in like, and the light is going to hit at that time, and then you're gonna have a super nice shot, and it's very very well thought out.
It's important because some of these things you are in control of. Often of your certain framings and stuff, you can decide at that moment what the perfect framing could be like. Whilst animal behavior and whatever it shows up, it's something you can't control. So you have to find that combination. And I think indeed, like taking care of framing, having that artistic mindset and implementing that into the filmmaking you're doing, that's helping me a lot, I think. But that's something that I've born with. That's something natural.
You think it's not something you can learn as a skill? You think you
can also learn, but even I think the gut feeling, the real, I don't know. It's like a tennis player. I think you can become a really good tennis player just by learning and playing tennis. But the very, very best and the very top ones, they have an unexplicable thing already from a very early age that you can never reach when you don't have that.
Okay. I wanted to ask, because perhaps some people would be interested in it. How does one become a wildlife cameraman, camera woman?
I can't really tell. There's no one way to do it. I just felt I was alone in Belgium. There was like there's no wildlife filmmaking business here. There's nobody doing this. It doesn't exist. So I thought, okay, I need to start studying something. I need to make a decision. I want to do wildlife filmmaking. Biology makes sense. Filmmaking makes sense. But do I want to go to a wildlife filmmaking school, which also existed back in the days, like the very first ones appeared? But then you realize...
In which countries?
I was in South Africa, I think. In the UK maybe as well. I can't remember. But there were 2 or 3 of them, of which I was aware of, which were quite expensive. Okay, got you to an exotic... I never traveled out of Europe. Like I was doing all the backpacking and all my adventures were here in the mountains in Europe, but never outside. We never really traveled to Africa or to South Africa. So for me, that was, okay, maybe I could go to a film school in an exotic place. And then, I can't even remember, it was quite expensive, but also you had a couple of weeks that they gave you like a little handycam cassettes. You had to film something on Safari and then edit it, and then could be graduated as a... Doesn't make any sense, of course.
But it's all those things are also to connect you to build a net, aren't they? Like those kind of...
Yeah, but back in the days, I don't think there were many chances. On that path, I decided, no, I'm not going to do this. This is too...
You did filmmaking, general filmmaking in Brussels, right?
Brussels, general, like 3 years of general filmmaking.
At Ritz?
At Narafi.
Narafi, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because for a while it takes you away from the things that don't have to do anything, have anything to do with the wildlife, which interests me as well. Like that you're dealing with actors, you're making short films, and you're making sort of documentaries and feature films, and you learn about the lighting, about editing, about shot
Narafi is artistic as well, right? Like they are not...
Narafi is very practical.
Okay.
So, and you have a very broad education. In other film schools, you have to choose whether you're going to do directing or more editing and I thought for wildlife filmmaking, I have to have the whole package. I have to have knowledge of sound recording. I have to have the knowledge of framing and camera work and whatever happens in the edit. All these things, and I'm also part of like the director myself out in the field, because you have to make decisions on the spot. And that's why I decided to do Narafi, because for me it was like the easiest. It felt like the most hands-on education for filmmaking that I could get. And each year that I could have like a free. You had those projects towards the end of the year. You could freely choose whatever you wanted. Then I did wildlife. And then I did my very, very first wildlife projects with big, Betacam cameras with lenses that couldn't even zoom too far and very limited equipment. And I drowned the camera as well, and I came back to the principal of the school, like sorry, I drowned the camera in the Salt March, which I'm doing a documentary of. And the good thing was like I was already like a little bit older. I had already done my master's in biology and my extra master in marine biology. So I was already 5 years ahead of the other students, or lots of the other students. and I knew exactly what my goal was, and being a bit more mature, and I think it gave me an advantage of picking up exactly what I needed, and having also like the freedom. If any of my fellow students would go to the principal or the teachers and tell them like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make a nature documentary in a salt marsh there they would say like, no, just do something, I don't know, a documentary in the streets in Brussels, or make a short film. But for me, they could make an exception. I was like, oh yeah, because they knew I was that was my biggest goal.
Nice.
So I think and that was, maybe I did that kind of education because I felt like I need that good background that I can then throw myself in on the international market, so to say, and show them like, look, I've got some skills, and not like, oh yeah, I like to do this. So just.
So you think that, you're very happy about those choices?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think in my situation, if I were born in South Africa, would have been different.
Yeah.
I think it's much easier there probably to take a camera and go out in the
Get
wild
experience.
and film something. In Belgium, it's pretty difficult. And I had these discussions with colleagues as well, who told me like, oh, Pim, you studied for 8 years. Like, isn't that a waste of time? You should have maybe become a trainee and learn in that way, very practical. But I still think, no, I wanted to go through the university and having that biological insight and the learnings and the student life and all of that was also something that, I don't know, built me as a person. And also like the film school as well. These I think I know now how set lighting works, just because I did it also there at film school in different situations, also with actors, and to deal with people on a set or in a team, and to know, of course, you can learn it bit by bit by doing it as well. But already having been in the edit and having to edit other films and other things.
Do you like editing?
No. Well, no, I'm not an
Happy
editor.
to be behind the camera.
Absolutely. And I'm editing of course, I'm thinking about my shots and about the edit. Yeah. Absolutely. And I have a whole storyboard and everything in mind. But really behind in like a dark room for days and months on end. No, that's not my.
It's good. I know
like
what
to
you
sit
want
next to an editor and see how it all comes together, or then show him like, this was meant to be like this, and being the director a little bit. And
directing more.
Yeah, and then, or seeing like a pre-cut and then saying like, yeah, but that I don't have to do that cutting myself, but I can show him how it was meant to be. And often it's better then, or I can at least add something to an edit.
I have last week I attended a shoot in Brussels, where I'm from, which was nice, to film foxes. And it was really interesting to me, a little bit eye-opening as well, because we sat there for a long time and there was no fox. We know, it's probably because they already spotted us and we were a bit late to the shoot. But we don't know. How many times does that happen? If you could put a percentage on being in the field behind the camera and not filming anything. Yeah. And waiting in the cold, in the night. Because it was cold, it was night.
Yeah, there was nothing else to film.
And what I found really one thing that caught my eye was that it's not, the camera is on, it's ready to go at any second, because as soon as the fox enters the frame, which you knew where it was going to come from approximately, you have to be ready to record, and then you have to pre-rec so it can record like maybe 3 seconds before. Yeah. But you have to be on alert like all the time for hours. It's not like you have the camera on and you're chilling on your phone and taking a nap from time to time, or I don't know, talking. You have to be on all the time, waiting super, super patiently. Yeah. yeah, how does that work? Can you tell me a little bit more about that, like in the field? Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be prepared for failure and for not filming anything. And I think in the beginning of my career, that was a big challenge. I still remember, as I said, like I started off in Southern Africa. And of course, my first project or my second one, I was a sort of second cameraman and also sound guy and a sort of assistant to the principal camera guy. Already doing camera work myself was already a privilege, and I could film cool stuff at a very early time. Like I didn't spend too much time being only assisting and not doing anything. Pretty fast I got the trust of get a camera and you can do this and that, and you can be the second cameraman there. And
it's not the norm. Usually people start assisting for...
Yeah, it depends a bit on what opportunities come up. But in a way, I think, and that was because of my education as well, and what I was... I could show them already, like, this is what I filmed in the Salt March in Belgium, in the Netherlands, just across the border. And this is my short movie on the gulls on the coast of Marseille in the south of France, because I filmed this. And that helps to just already oh, you're serious, and not too bad. Of course, the whole story behind it, if you look back at it now, it's like, oh my God, what did I do? But still, I went through already a lot of difficulties and
the challenge,
obstacles and challenges to reach or to get these shots with limited amount of camera gear. And that when I started my professional career, sort of, they already trusted me a little bit. They had something, you had something already to show, and you can do this. And of course, out in the field, you can't be like a big team. So you can assist in a way, like, but limited, but then also already do camera work or from time to time being responsible of sound recording. And I started from there.
But so as a cameraman, how long, can you put a percentage on how much you don't film anything? You go out, you wait.
Yeah, what I wanted to say, like when I was very young, out in the field in Africa, when my second camera roll was, of course, like by a certain time, it gets too bright, the haze is coming, and it's not really the images we were after. Then we had to wait for the evening light again to start filming again. But at that window, for me, was an opportunity to grab the big camera, which I asked permission for. Like, can I now play around with the big camera?
The expensive one.
Can I still continue, or with my camera, just to film different things and other things, just to practice my focus pulling and see how close I could get to this and how I could make a story out of this, which was nothing. Some of these shots ended up in the final product, but it wasn't really, it was more for me. And I also was even back in the days on these little cassettes. I even kept them myself because I swapped these cassettes again after my private filming session for myself, not to be too embarrassed. Like that, but then I was filming in bad light conditions, which I was aware of, with animals that were behaving like the best behavior was often the early mornings and the evenings, of course. But I got more practice and more know-how of what's happening and how you can approach and how you can do this and that. But of course, like later on, you realize that that's not the way to go. Like, you can't produce all that footage the whole time because it doesn't make any sense. You have this is your one job to do. This is a story to tell. This is what you stick to. This is the beautiful light. You wait for that. If it doesn't happen, you have to estimate, like, is it going to happen next days? Do I have time to film the same thing in the better light or not? Or do I film it now if the light is not like the perfect light? just to have this in the pocket and then improve from there. Which then puts you in a position to cope with times that you don't film a thing. Absolutely. And percentage, it's hard to say, maybe half of the time.
Half of the time that you sit and you don't film anything.
That you, like for the whole day, for example, and that you don't produce.
Well, for example, the shoot from last week, I'm not even counting the setup, because the setup already takes a long time for all the gear to be ready and to have changed the clothes and the camouflage and put the lighting in and do the spotting of everything. And it was not in the wilderness, so it was probably like even more like relaxed. But that already took an hour or more, and then the wait took 3 hours, 4 hours, something like this.
Yeah, even longer.
Yeah,
I think. But
like how much? And then there is a moment where if the fox would have appeared, that you would have been able to get your shots.
Yeah.
So that I would say is like the success, but how much percentage is it like the waiting?
It depends a bit on the project you're working at, and, and the animals you're working with, and the level you want to reach.
Yeah,
there's so many factors deciding for you to trigger or not to trigger, or to push the button or not to. Of course, if nothing happens, too bad. Then you have to work from there, and you learn. It's learning. Like now I know these foxes. Probably last time in Brussels, I think we were a bit too late. I think it was an underestimation of the time that they were. I think they were already active.
Already out,
earlier. That was already my gut feeling from the beginning. But others said like, oh no, they just show up in this area from much later. Looking back, I think we should have been ready at 10 o'clock or even earlier, 9 o'clock, that those foxes can move around. And
I think as soon as humans start lower down their activity, then they are ready to go out. No?
But the failure is just part of the job. And of course, it's not nice to have to go back home and realize like, I spend hours without any.
And does that happen a lot?
The only achievement you have is learnings, which you can take to the next day and decide like, how am I going to do this differently? What's going to bring me success? And I think to speak for myself, I think I'm pretty good at that. Like just to sort of read or understand animal behavior or whatever you did wrong or you could improve for the next shoot to have more success. So I never consider it like lost, a waste of time. Although with the foxes, it's so stupid. I was actually pretty sure a fox would show up, and it doesn't happen. Then I'm like, shit. Of course. It also can't. It can.
Yeah.
It can be even for things that you feel so sure of. If it doesn't happen, that hits me hard sometimes. And I think like, how can I be so stupid to really count on nature to exactly do what I envisioned? Of course, you can't never, and then it makes you humble again and think about what's next. But I was like, for example, 2 months ago, I was in Gabon. We were trying to film forest elephants in the forest, and the forest is a jungle, a dense jungle, and the distance, like to a big fruiting tree, like the distance that we could be at from that fruiting tree was only 30 meters maximum, which means you're very close at where an elephant could be.
Because of the lighting?
Just because of the density of the visibility. If I could. And I had to find a spot where I could camouflage myself really well, because these animals, these elephants, they know.
They smell.
And they smell, and they see, and they move through the forest. And if anything has changed or any strange smell is there, they will probably avoid the place. So, but to find a spot where you're hidden enough to kind of convince yourself this is possible, that an elephant could come here at only 30 meters. It's not far. Like big elephants suddenly being there
big animals
can be dangerous as well. So I had to find a safe spot that I could also say, like, if he would be really annoyed and sort of attacks me, at least I can crawl under this log and be sort of safe. I had an escape route.
Okay.
But in these conditions, already, like, okay, it's tricky. You're really close to an animal, but there's no other way. Or you can use camera traps, but it's not the same. It's not like you're right there with the camera. And then you realize this can be like a long wait. This can be a really long wait. And I took turns with a colleague of mine. And yeah, then you also, like, you embrace that things don't go the way you want, but you're always hoping for that one moment that it happens, and that would be the reward of every failure or every process that you go through. And that's the kind of guy I am. I'm always so hopeful, and I always believe in success. And if it's not happening, then at least you could say, like, we did everything we could, or I pushed it as hard as I could. Like, I couldn't.
You were able to get some nice shots of
in a specific story with the elephants. So I spent, also the thing is, you can't stay there a whole day and day after day, because your smell will just linger and just hang there, and then an elephant would never appear. So you have to be. We decided, let's do half a day on location, half a day not, and then, but there's no pattern in there. That's what camera trapping showed us. Like, they could show up randomly. Could be at the night, but night was impossible for us. It was not safe to go into the jungle. It's not safe to be there in the night with all the
gorillas,
chimpanzees, elephants, buffalo. So the night was a no-go, but then at least we had or the morning or the afternoon. But elephants could come in the morning or the afternoon. So it was like an estimation. And there was a lot of times that I was sitting there and just hoping, and indeed, like, you're ready to trigger
it's crazy.
anytime. I'm completely focused. I can't do anything else.
That's crazy, actually. I don't know. It seems in this day and age, people get bored so quickly.
True, yeah. But that's
like
one
ready.
that's one of the key features or characteristics of a good wildlife cameraman. I think you have to be so focused and so ready for things that are unexpected and unpredictable, and then you have to act so fast and think so fast. And often the trick is not to overthink, or that's what I realize now. Like, when I was younger, I tried to overthink what could happen, and through experience, I kind of know what to do when these occasions, when an elephant appears, I know what I need to do and what I can't do, not to scare off the animal, or most of the time I know. And while waiting for the animal, I was also realizing, like, when he comes, I'm gonna first do a wide. I can't move my lens too much because an elephant would immediately see. So I really have to. I can't actually. The thing was, like, I don't think I can move much. But I thought as well, like, but let's see when it comes, and it will come naturally.
Yeah.
The shots that I need, and I feel what's possible and what not. But it all depends on that situation, and it's really hard to predict. And I sat there for days and days and days. I don't know, 5, 6, 7, and then divided. And my colleague also. And it's frustrating, and it's very time-consuming, because there's nothing else to film, there's nothing else to do. Just wait for an elephant, be really silent, and then there was one time.
Be not too stinky.
Yeah, as well. You had to. That was also very tricky. You had to walk through the jungle. You're sweating. You're carrying all the gear. It's hot. It's quite a distance, so you're sweating. So what I did was like taking a towel with me and like a sort of waterproof bag. And then on location or just before, I was taking my sweaty clothes off, put it in a bag, locked it. I don't know if it helped, and put something new that I thought like that the big stench is maybe gone. Don't know if it helped, but in the end, what actually like was it my last attempt or my second to last? How do you say? I think on my last attempt, I was sitting there and suddenly I hear a noise coming closer. I could barely, you can't move too much. And it's something like, okay, there's an animal. And my tracker or my assistant was behind me. And also he was sitting against the tree. He's a local guy. And I saw him looking in the same direction and already saying like, elephant. I said, yes, but I couldn't do anything. It was just like I can't
because it's like there is a ruffling of the leaves or what?
Or just any move. He would have
really?
The position I was in. He had to move at maybe 10 or 20 meters from me. 20 meters, let's say.
Yeah,
that was the pathway, and then he could go to the fruiting tree and could start eating there. That was really close, and I bet you any small movement that I would make, I couldn't turn my camera towards him because I would immediately, also my framing would, it's a dense jungle. But then at one moment I saw the back of the elephant and his, like the whole upper part of the elephant standing like at 20 or 30 meters from me, standing still. And me too, I was like, oh my God. And just waiting, not moving at all, hoping that he would feel safe enough to move into my framing to the fruiting tree and start doing what he needed to do. But I think the wind was blowing from the wrong direction. Things that you can't control.
Yeah.
And I don't know what factor in the end led him to really feel that the location wasn't safe enough. And then he didn't make any sound at all. Like approaching, I could hear, very, very gentle, but I could hear him approaching. I saw him standing there, and then he disappeared without making any sound. Just going.
That's crazy. And I definitely knew there was something.
And then what I realized, like later on, like then I knew, like it's a pity. He's not going to come back because he smelled something or he saw a change.
Felt something.
They see a change in the environment. I realized as well, like there was a very, very slight wind, but almost none. And it was always changing a little bit, which is not good. It should have been in one direction. If the elephant would have come from the other side, my chances were higher. Mm-hmm. But at least I got very close to almost filming one, which in these conditions I think was already like a big achievement. That's just insane.
Crazy.
And I was very suspicious from the beginning if it would work, if it would really work. It hasn't worked so far. Next trip in Gabon, we're going to do a different approach, just hiking through the jungle with cameras. It was also like the start of the seasons for the elephants, so there was not an abundance, just a few, so these chances are limited. Mm-hmm. The distance is limited. All these conditions are very, very tricky to get close to an elephant like this. It can even be dangerous. Yeah, I was ready to really, like, if he would be there, if he would be focused on eating, but after a while notice, like, I was pretty convinced that if an elephant shows up, maybe in the beginning he can be dazzled by the fruits and he can start eating this and that, but there's going to come a moment that he will know that I'm here.
You're going to
He
move
might
too much.
approach a little bit like naturally, or suddenly he might just think like, something weird.
Yeah,
It's just because the distance is so close. And then I was ready to react, and I had experience with attacking elephants. But in that occasion, I was pretty sure, like, if an elephant like that, if he would feel unsafe, or he will turn back and go away, or he's gonna mock charge. He's gonna.
They're very shy. They're more
shy,
yeah.
And also like attacking something that he can't really make a human out, or really be sure what's hiding. He wouldn't really fully attack. So I was ready to just
that's amazing.
take cover or something. But then these are long waits for no result at all.
I think the job can seem super appealing to a lot of people. It's good that they know that there is a lot of waiting in very hard conditions. It's not Belgium. It's not your home country, wherever the person is from. I don't know. It's like you said, the jungle. It's warm. It's wet. It's nothing dries. It's uncomfortable. You have to really love it, like love being there.
The challenges, everything that comes with it, like indeed there's things that you realize, like, oh my god, am I actually really doing this? Am I in this situation? And part of it is very adventurous and very, I wouldn't say glamorous, I guess. It's not really glamorous.
I don't think it's a good
word. The adventure is very appealing, indeed. And you get to places that otherwise, okay, you can come to some of these places as a tourist, but it's never the same than being completely immersed and it's a very different feel. But it's also, a lot of these things are very challenging. Also, very practical things and technical things and
physically demanding as well.
Physically demanding, absolutely.
So why you train sometimes before going? It's to be able to run from the animals.
I'm never, like, half a year ago, I was training to climb like a very high mountain. But aside from that, I'm not really training for specific shoots or something. It just the good thing is that I have a general, like, you have to be in a good condition. You have to.
Cameras are heavy.
The cameras are heavy. Distances can be long. It's very primitive. Everything about it is very. It can put a lot of strain on your body and also on your. It's sometimes a mind fuck as well, like being out there.
A little bit of a but it's a little bit meditative as well, I would say, perhaps.
Yeah. Although to me, especially like now, I'm calmer, I think. But before, I never felt that it was meditative.
Because you want to be in action all the time.
Or I was too eager and too ready to make a shot or to get what I came for. Now, from time to time, I can just say, like, okay, I'm ready. Bring it on. But meanwhile, nice jungle. The sound of these birds, and I'm recording, and when these other things happen, I'm ready for it.
How often does it happen that you're waiting a long time and then you miss a shot? Like, you do something, you mistake the focus or anything like that, where you're like,
not too. It sounds like bragging. Not too much.
Well, I hope so.
Too often.
I think that's also one of the
that
characters.
Comes with the experience, I think. Also, like, back in the days, you're more stressed and you make mistakes because you want it so much, and I still want it so much, and I'm still so. But through experience, you have more these gut feelings and the know-how of.
Okay.
What can I do at this situation?
You never miss a shot.
I wouldn't say. I'm trying now to remember, like, a recent example of me missing a crucial shot, or
It's out of focus. No, but I
must say, not too often. To really miss a shot, not too often.
That's good. That's good. I mean, I hope so with the waiting.
Sniper.
Yeah, imagine.
No, but there are these risks. If any interesting behavior suddenly comes, then sometimes you have to make a decision. Or do I approach it do I go for safe, and do I get it in a safer shot that I really know? I had it a couple of years ago when I was filming the wildcat hunting here in Belgium, which is exceptional. I was really close.
Lynx? No,
like a wild European wildcat, like the big version of our domestic cat with the stripes.
Yeah, with the stripes.
Looks like a domestic cat.
But
I was filming. It's a bit more bulky and bigger.
Yeah. Super rare to see, no?
It's rare. Yeah. It's in Belgium, and they're forest animals, and they come out just in open areas to hunt. But they are shy as well. They're not easy to approach. But I was in a situation that I was filming that wildcat hunting, and I had, after a while, you get the feeling, okay, I got this shot, this, and then you tick off all the boxes or your shot list. You think about the story and the cut, the edit, and how it cuts together and feel. And at a certain moment, and I had already like a few attempts of him jumping to try to catch a bird or try to catch a mouse or whatever was in the field. And before, there was one moment that of course, sometimes you want to be wide, sometimes you want to be close. And there was, in the past, I had already filmed a wildcat that was jumping also to catch prey. And I underestimated the leap it could do, or it was, and there's not much you can do if a wildcat suddenly jumps. And for me, that's a missed shot. Like he just at the end of my framing. So my framing isn't the best. I can kind of do a little bit of that already gives me a feeling of I should have known. Why didn't you take a little bit wider? Or closer, but then you would miss the whole action. But these are the kind of shots that I get really annoyed with myself. That I think like, but then I was filming that wildcat, and at a certain that other wildcat hunting, and at a certain moment he was so close and so focused on something he was really in a hunting mode and focused on prey. But also, I was quite close on him. I had a full frame, which made me... And it took him a while. Like, he was really, like, completely frozen, focusing. And me as well, I was like, oh my God, he's gonna get something, or he's gonna... And I had enough time to think, what am I gonna do? And of course, then you can make a decision.
Yeah.
I can go wider just to, if he jumps, I've got a bit of safety because he can jump far. Or do I stay close? But then the risk, if you zoom out, of him jumping at that very moment, it's also, you have to calculate. And then I decided, no, you know what? I've got already like 3 or 2, and that's also like comes maybe with experience, or you take a bit more risks. I've got already these and these and these attempts. Now I want it close, and as close as I can get it. So let's just stay close and just be ready to focus, pull the hell out of this and get that movement right. And I have to say, I nailed it.
Okay.
Sort of, yeah.
Nice.
Suddenly was jumping and you're like, yeah, okay. So sometimes you take a little bit more risks just to get that little extra.
Yeah. Because
if you keep playing it safe, then you can't. You don't make a difference or whatever.
Yeah, because wide shots is always safer to get the really.
Yeah, but wide shots are also important. Like the most for me when I'm doing a wildlife film, for me, the most important shots are the really wides where you have the animal in the environment, which
Get
shows
perspective.
in that, the perspective indeed, like, and then being really close to the animal, and everything in between.
I'm gonna see for our next question how long we have.
Yeah.
Now the lighting is getting
What?
lighting is shading as
It's
well.
dark.
The future, a little bit more about that. Is there an animal or a place that you never filmed and you really, really would love to film? Maybe you can go even a little bit crazy, a dead or alive animal that you wish.
Dead or alive? I was already
Extinct or not
involved in the
extinct?
project of digging out a dinosaur, a T-Rex,
Nice.
which was a childhood dream of mine, which I achieved. There's so many places on Earth that I haven't been. There's so few that I have been. So there's still so much to explore. There's too many. But in a way, the Arctic is a place that I haven't been. But then part of me also thinks like, but a lot has been done there as well. What could be new to film in Antarctica, and it could be.
I know an animal that's never been filmed there.
Tell me, let's go.
The colossal squid. Perfect for you.
Yeah, you have to go to the deep blue. It's not my specialty, I think. But I back in the days, I was talking to one of the big BBC. I was still very young. It was like my very first. I was doing a project in Montenegro with very limited camera gear. I was often left alone out in the field filming and taking care of everything myself. It was a big struggle. Also, Montenegro in the Balkan. There's a lot of poaching going on.
Really?
It's very hard to get close to any animal. Like I remember like the script or what they actually wanted was the whole story of wolves and bears and maybe a little bit of chamois and other animals, but the main thing was wolves and bears. I tried to film wolves and bears in Montenegro with limited camera gear and only you with a local assistant that you picked up in the village, helping you out, carrying stuff out up in the mountains. That was extremely challenging, but really, really, it was crazy. And then I was talking at the Wildlife Film Festival to one of the main BBC camera guys, and he was actually doing, I think, Frozen Planet, so in the Arctics. And we were talking about it, and he said, like, yeah, Pim, but you realize the job that you're doing, it's like 100 times more difficult than what I'm doing. I'm going to a place, and we're sure there's like the walrus colony is there, and then the penguins are there, and it's so.
And they're not shy.
They're not shy, of course. Then BBC level, there's all these technical
the researchers and knowledge.
Of course, it needs to be top notch and high end for the highest possible. So there's these other challenges, but wildlife wise, he said like, for me, it's the easiest place on earth where I'm. But still, I want to experience I've been filming in the Galapagos as well, and there you also like facing animals that have no fear at all of humans, and it's weird in a way, But in the Galapagos, sometimes these animals come too close, which is also annoying because you can't focus anymore if you're on a long lens So Antarctica would be one of the places I would love to go to visit and to see and to experience.
The exploration there.
Although I cope better with the heat than with the cold.
Okay.
But it's fine if you prepare well. I think it's okay. But being very cold, I had it not a couple of years ago in Norway, like being complete, like having almost frostbite on my fingers and stuff. Ugh.
Really?
Just give me the heat.
That's
I can
crazy.
cope so much better with heat, and being too hot, I don't mind too much actually. But I think also like these cold places, at least if you are well prepared, you can cope as well.
We have to be very well prepared for the Arctic.
But so the Arctic might be one of the places that I still want to visit and go to. And
and an animal?
I love jungles. I always fall in love with wild, big, crazy jungles, which is also not an easy environment to film in.
No.
And also indeed like combining locations with animals. What animal would I love to still? Oh,
it can also be extinct.
Can be extinct. Yeah. I still want to experience like the size and the just the presence of a blue whale.
Yeah.
I have seen other whale species and stuff. And then I might jump into it just I might be so afraid and shit my pants or my swimming pants. But I want to...
Do you know if it's...
I want to be in the water with a blue whale and like the biggest of its kind.
It's crazy.
Just to feel... and I think that's what I have like throughout my life. I always... I see nature, like that's my holy grail and my everything. And I told you before, like often I see humankind as the biggest threat to nature. So I have a very low estimation of humankind and what we're doing to the environment, and just that feel of being surrounded by something so much bigger and such a force. That's what I have in jungles, like just wow, how impressive is a jungle?
The Milky Way.
Yes,
that's crazy.
These places and animals that you suddenly feel humbled by. I also have it with big cats. One of the big cats that I always told my daughters that my favorite animal would be like a leopard or snow leopard. Okay, leopards I've filmed before. A snow leopard I still want to... Also because I love mountains.
Yeah.
I still want to film a snow leopard as well.
I remember seeing I think it was BBC Planet Earth 1. And they showed, I received the whole DVD box from my parents. They showed in the bonuses the cameraman. I think they showed that shoot, and it was weeks of waiting in the mountains. Seemed like a difficult.
Yeah,
but now it might have changed.
It might have changed, and that's also what makes me think like, do I really want to still film it? It's been done maybe already too many times. There's locations that they are pretty relaxed to approach or to get to. So
for you, it's very important you do something new
and more. Yeah, I think so.
It's getting more and more difficult, you think?
It's getting more and more difficult in a way. Yeah, but still there's so many other things to tell.
A lot of
Absolutely.
Stories.
If there's like sometimes it doesn't need to be the same again, like a lion story and again an elephant story. Just something new. It can be a small critter,
exactly.
Exciting behavior, a good story.
Yeah.
I'm more drawn to that than filming those big charismatic animals that we all know already so much and so well. Then I'm more drawn, like I said, like to the
underdogs.
The underdogs and the ones that are underappreciated or that we don't really like just in Belgium, I filmed that story of the tiny ladybird spider that nobody in Belgium
That's great. That
knew
was
of,
crazy.
has ever seen. And then you take like an underdog species. Most of the people are really, and now on a big screen in the cinemas,
Yeah.
they could see like a spider. They think it's big like this, but in fact it's tiny.
They're so
like
beautiful.
It is so beautiful. And you take a species that is completely underestimated and that most people have a fear. And then you show them how beautiful they are and how beautifully you have the ladybird spider. It's like a ladybird, like a red, the male with the red abdomen and then the spots. And immediately these people that have that fear can also see like, but it's a beautiful animal. Like I've never seen
bit
such a
fluffy.
a beautiful spider, I think, and people can suddenly change their mind bit by bit. And then I show that in that sequence, we go underground to see the mating of a male and a female spider. And
that was a beautiful scene.
Yeah, in the end, it's been by the audience, it's been chosen to be like their favorite, most impressive scene of a small spider just mating and fighting a little bit and making its way through a beautiful landscape. But it's a spider that nobody or barely anyone knew, that is very much endangered here. That is, and all these aspects for me.
Only in one reserve, right?
Yeah. There's only one location in Belgium with that spider, and also worldwide it's endangered because it's only living in Europe and also in a few spots in Europe. It's not doing the ballooning it can only disperse by walking. It's a tiny spider like this, so it doesn't have much potential to spread out and so it's very specific. And maybe these are the kind of stories that I also like to tell, that I think like these are important. They make people change their minds in the certain topics.
Yeah. And that's beautiful that you can do that, change people's minds on an animal with your work. It's something, I don't know.
That might be the higher goal would be like change people's mindset, make people also aware of appreciate nature, aware of things, maybe also aware of environmental problems, maybe even have them to act in a. I was. As a kid, I watched with my mother was a teacher at a school, and she had to prepare a sort of film evening for kids in examination periods. And then suddenly they had like that day off, but they were going to watch an educational film on a certain topic. And I had the privilege to come with her to have a sort of sneak peek, like what is the documentary going to be about? Is this the one we're going to show? And it was in the meat industry. And I was 10 or 11 years old. I watched that documentary with my mother. I walked out of that little cinema and I told her, like, from now on, I will never eat meat again. And I never did. Just imagine that you have that kind of course, like I said, not everybody has to walk out of a nature documentary being vegetarian.
It happens.
But in my experience, that was such a mind-blowing story that I thought, like, I can't relate to that, and I can't. My habits or my as a kid, I already realized, like, I don't want to be involved in any of this shit.
I think,
and I want to be a vegetarian.
No, but it's really the power of filmmaking or anything that is artistic like that, because scientists can write any papers they want. Like, really, to touch the snare of a human, you really need that to put it in a nice, like, beautiful shots, a good story. Otherwise you won't touch them, and I think it's something very important.
And not only the beautiful shots, just the right stories at the right time. But because often I think even in wildlife filmmaking we're not telling the right story sometimes. In the past we've been selling so many lies. Just tell the truth.
It's crazy.
and
what
turn
happens.
your camera on what's really happening. And I really like And of course, it depends on the demand of a broadcaster or what they think that an audience likes to see, and they want to escapism and they want to feel in the wild. But then you have to realize, like, but not everything is like this. Then you have to realize you're watching a lie.
But it's changing now.
And it's changing a lot, absolutely. And I think the most powerful films are more about that human nature relationship. And look at My Octopus Teacher, or the Ivory Game on the big ivory, the trafficking and the big problems there. These are stories that really can make a difference and that are really like booming, and that are telling a story that is closer to reality, but even more so closer to having people realizing what we do to our environment, what the risks are and the dangers.
The new planet Earth is much more a human story. That really the first planet Earth. It was just wild. Anything wild. There was no humans in it, and now that really changed. The last one is really interactive, but I don't know how I feel about it, because
in my opinion, I think in the past we were always hiding behind but they have to show the beauty of
the
wilderness to have people relate to this. And I agree to a certain point, but I think we passed that. I think we have to show also, and you have to, of course, it's good to find a good balance. You can't just put out all the negative or all the, but you have to strike the good balance. And I always like the projects that achieve of telling that other story as well, and even more so, telling stories that make a difference out in the field to these animals that you're talking. Like in the past, I was involved in the filming of in Ethiopia, the story of the Ethiopian wolves, which only live in Ethiopia on the high plateaus. Ethiopian wolves, and they're struggling a lot. It's like the most endangered canid in the world. And all these, of course, it's lots of pressure of humans, of intrusion, of loss of habitat, of diseases spread by the dogs, by the feral dogs that come close, and all these aspects are all included in the documentary, in the storytelling, which makes it really strong, and for me also at least shows what we humans the reality, and not only like the beautiful, there's a wolf and he's hunting like big rodents on the high plateaus and he's having strange behaviors to survive. That's nice, it's cool to see. But what is the real story of that wolf, and where is it at? I think that's much more important. And even more, that project also took it a bit further, like to make a local version in the two big local, like the two main Ethiopian languages, to be able to show it to the people there on the plateau, on the schools, on the nearby villages.
Super nice.
To get these people they don't know, these wolves, they know them a little bit, maybe, but very limited. I think it's more known by people watching documentaries in the West,
like this,
or tourists coming to visit that place. But these locals, sometimes they have no clue. So at least you show them what's out there. You show them the value of what they have, and you show them how their lives impact that kind of animal. You can only hope that they start caring as well, and they start realizing that, like, have that effect that the film had on me, like being a vegetarian, that you suddenly, maybe a few people have sort of a switch of thinking, let's do something different. And maybe
at the minimum, you're showing them, at least you're showing them something that they might never see in their life. That's already,
at least I have the feeling, we are not stealing the beautiful images and beautiful stories to show to an audience who doesn't really care too much, just watching.
They're not they're
not too
impacting
connected. Although that project was also You could buy it online through a platform, and all the money that was in that buying went through the protection of the habitat and the wolf. And that was
Very
like
nice.
a real thing. It was not like a scam. It was not, of course not. I mean, that would be very embarrassing. But at least then
Was not
you're
scam.
working on different fronts to make a difference on location for people, for animals, for nature. And I think that's the biggest challenge and our biggest goal that we have to achieve. I think that's the reason why I became a wildlife filmmaker, because I hated humans so much and I love nature so much. No, I wanted to really, like, it sounds a bit cheesy, but I really want to help nature and in a way,
give it a voice.
Find a way, give it a voice. Yeah, exactly. And for example, with the Belgian project, that's exactly what we did. My international colleagues said, like, when I started the Belgian project here, they thought I was going mad. Like, what are you going to film in Belgium? Are you crazy? Or what's there? Like foxes and deer and badgers. Yeah, and some spiders. But having seen the effect that Belgian series and the film had on an audience who had I wouldn't say no clue, but had never seen their own wildlife and their own natural environment this way, filmed with this kind of cameras in this kind of high-end way in a documentary, and so immersive, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, it was a big
that was a big hit, which we never really expected before. I knew there was like of course, there's a vacant position in a way, like nobody's going to film wild Belgium. Whoever international would come up with that idea, the other ones would say, like, are you mad? So Belgians had to film it. I had to film it. So I felt the responsibility to be involved and to choose, like, to stop my international projects, come back from Botswana or Galapagos, the places I was filming, to make the project here in Belgium.
Yeah.
And I think that was a good decision, because in the end, my main goal, maybe in the back of my mind, is showing people the beauty of their nature in their own backyard, basically. Yeah. And we achieved something. It's now a sort of how do you say, like a.
It's a success, we can say that.
Yeah, success. I would say, like,
no, but it's
brand.
Yeah,
people know about it.
Yeah, I remember even me. I went to the cinema to watch it, and I was mind blown. I was like, "Well, my God, so many animals I didn't know we had in Belgium." Even
cool.
Me, I don't know, not like even me, but I'm so interested by animals, and I know exotic ones. But I think that's a little bit, I don't know if it's a mistake, but it's something that I feel a lot, that I always go looking for the exotic ones, because it's like the most exciting thing. And of course, I love my salamanders and my frogs because I grew up with them. But I don't know, it's always more appealing. Like, it's the grass seems greener at the other side, or like more exciting.
To admit,
while movie was
while filming in Belgium, sometimes I felt the same. I felt like, I wish I woke up to an African savanna to this morning, but
it was worth it.
But it was worth it, and of course, you have to realize we made that project with internationally. I can rely on all these people who have the know-how and the big guns and the big means of making and the knowledge of making wildlife films. Here in Belgium, we had to do it with people who had no clue where to begin. Yeah, and it was a big challenge to make that project work, and to have enough time and enough budget, but also having these people who had no experience in wildlife filmmaking being tuned in a completely different world of filmmaking, of approaching such a big project, because it was not like starting small with a small wildlife project. It was immediate, like a 6-part series and a big film with people that had no experience at all. was
They know actors and how to do it.
or television shows and reality shows and all
This is the budget you're getting when this shot.
But wildlife filmmaking was something completely different, out of anyone's comfort zone, I would say. Okay, I knew what to expect, but it's also very hard to prepare other ones what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
But the result is it was good enough to blow away an audience and to really get like a whole like all these generations. It was the youngest, like 3 years old, 4 years old. And I imagined myself like, wow, if I would have been in Belgium, like a 4-year-old, and had the opportunity to go to this kind of movie and see this is filmed in your own small little boring gray country, I would have been, that would be the heaven for me.
Yeah.
And of course, afterwards, I got all these reactions and applications for being my assistant or or joining me. And
super nice.
It's also cool to have that kind of appreciation in my home country.
Nice.
Which,
and now you are filming the second part.
Yeah, now we're doing a sequel. It was so successful that we needed a sequel.
I'm very, very excited because it's even more of that human story, because it's really in the...
We try to bring it even closer to humans, but...
It's going to be even more relatable, probably, yeah?
I hope it makes...
I think so.
An impact on another level again and on another way, and I think it will.
Yeah.
It's going to take time because we're just at the start, and I'm going to keep combining it with international shoots as well. That's my goal. But it's... Well, back in the day, it was also Corona times, so I had to stay at home as well, so I could keep working here.
But now it's nice. Now you can get the excitement of filming further away.
Hopefully, I can combine, because I know how hard work it is and how much. Again, a 6-part series and a cinema film in a limited amount of time with a small team.
How long do you think it will take?
It depends on the budget. and now we're looking at filming. I don't know. I'm worried. But they told me you shouldn't. So but I am. So we have to film it. We have to realize it in a very short amount of time, which for the first 6-part series was also like a big, man, there was such a rush. And I had to complete stories in such a short amount of time for myself, because I realized what else was going on and what I was missing. And so I really had to decide, okay, 5 days and I have to have the whole story. Otherwise I'm in troubles, and otherwise I will miss next. So it was the constant big stress. But for me as well, it made me realize that I could work quite efficiently and make things look okay or quite nice in a short amount of time, which builds a bit of confidence. Like, you can do this. You can do this in 2 days. Like,
it's funny how high your standards are for achieving what you want as shots. People really loved it, but you're like, it's.
I'm trying to push myself, but you're always limited by circumstances and by time. If they give you like the most valuable thing you get is time often, because you can spend time. You can say like, okay, and each day or even each hour that you spend in the field with an animal, you can learn so much. You can improve so much. You can have the next day is already the things you achieve
even if
already
you
like
get your
double. And you never have to underestimate what time does to a wildlife sequence. And like the last 2 years I was involved in a Wild Europe series, and I often suspect that I got like often the most difficult or some difficult topics to film, and again in a limited amount of time that I
Yeah.
thought like, oh my God, this is going to be a challenge. But at the same time, it is a challenge, and you take it on and you think like, we just need that one moment that it all comes together within this week.
Is it never not a challenge?
Yeah, it's probably always a challenge. And there was one shoot that we didn't film a thing. Like I was there, like it's just not too long ago. I was talking to my colleague and I told him like, wasn't that like for 2 weeks that we were out there and not filming anything? Turned out to be only 5 days, but it felt like such a long time that nothing happened at all, and we had to abandon. Like afterwards, colleagues took over because I had to go to Botswana for another thing, and colleagues took over, stayed another week or so, and they also the thing just didn't happen. So it was like a whole. Yeah, there was a short amount of time, which I actually believed like, yeah, we're gonna get it, and then in the end you don't. But all the rest, we sort of achieved to get a sequence together and to get
I saw some shots. It
already nice shots. The series is gonna be amazing. It's gonna show Europe also again, like to Europeans or outsiders, in a way that you couldn't even realize that that wildlife and these stories are all filmed within the borders of Europe.
Yeah.
It's so diverse. It's
super
all
nice.
These amazing species, all these amazing landscapes, and so that I think indeed like that might also blow people's minds.
Yeah, for sure. I'm super excited.
Me too. I haven't seen
the shots that I was involved with.
Yeah,
they're not going to be included
in Paris or so.
No. Paris they are actually. Yeah, the mice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That was fine.
I
don't. Yeah, no, because we didn't get the right behaviors. I was not there all the time, but that's what happened.
Yeah, that's also an interesting aspect of the job. Like you're sent out to film a certain sequence, and I work with storyboards, and I think about like what shots do I need to get, and how do I get this sequence together. And in a small, if we're in a small team, I'm also taking on the role of a sort of director, and I'm a bit like the responsible out there. Often also a producer, director, everything with a few assistants or some local scientists or so. And then you film the whole thing. Okay, you do a debrief, but then you put it in the hands of the production. And for example, on the Europe series, I have seen bits and pieces and sometimes some pre-cuts of something. But it's still changing so much till the final product that I'm very curious to see, especially my sequences, like what they made out of this, and if it's really what I envisioned or even better. Yeah, which is even the best that you could get. Like if it's even better than you expected it to be, but also the other ones, because of course it was like a big project. I did like quite a lot of sequences and a lot of shoots. But these other ones also did, and I'm very curious what kind of results.
Yeah. It's going to be super nice. Do you know when it's coming out?
Should be beginning of next year. Delivery to the broadcaster was like now in November, I think, and it's going to be aired in March.
Okay. Everybody
French and
be on the lookout for
international.
Europa? What was it?
Yeah,
Europe. They're still
Europa.
Yeah, I don't know. They decided on the title, and I'll post it on Instagram. We'll see. But yeah, in any case, I had much more questions. Actually, I could be here for quite a while.
I can keep talking,
but the batteries. I don't know. Something with my camera is up. Again, but it's no worries. This is my first podcast like this about nature that I want to continue doing, And these things will happen. I'm
You
also
just
this is a
can
learning
invite
curve.
me again. And we'll talk some more.
Great.
I have many more stories to tell.
I wanted to talk about cryptids like Tasmanian devil, Bigfoot. You know, the animals that people think that are out there. Or,
Yeah.
also wanted to talk a little bit about dinosaurs. I know you're very, very interested by dinosaurs. But in any case, we'll wrap it up here. Super nice that you were here.
Yeah,
I appreciate it a lot. And I wish you a lot of success for hopefully Gabon and being able to get those elephant shots.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we will.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. And other animals as well. In Gabon, still exciting times to go, I think. Yeah. For my colleagues as well. Yeah.
Super nice. Thank you, Pim Niesten.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.